It's the Wolf Media Festival podcast. Today's guests, from the award play script Borrowing Funny, award-winning writer Matt Wexler. And now, here's your hosts, Richard Wilmore and Jacquelynn Wolfheart.
Hey, guess who's here today, Jacquelynn?
Well, I hope it's like somebody who won an award.
Well, they did. And his name is Matt Wexler. Do not be confused with Max, because we're filming these out of order, and we already filmed the interview, and I called him Max the entire time until the end. So, but his name is Matt Wexler, and he won for Best Screenplay Comedy Drama for his screenplay Borrowing Funny, which I always talk about these to everybody, but I don't get to read or watch most of them or do anything. But Jacquelynn says it's really funny, so you tell him.
It's funny. It is such a great concept, I think. But since he talks about it in the interview, I won't say more. But it is. I think it's a really great concept that I think a lot of people will connect with. A lot of people in the industry will connect with, and then other people can find other paths to connect with it as well. So
it seems like a connection.
Yeah, it seems like a connection. So let's listen.
Let's connect with Matt Wexler.
I'll just bring behind me real quick. It just looks a little strange.
Sure. Get it out of the way.
There. Doesn't look like something's growing out of my head.
What do you mind if I ask what was that?
So that was a art piece that my dad and my stepmom didn't want anymore, and they said, "Oh, put it at your house. You don't have any art." And I don't really know anything about art. I have a lot of, I don't know. Not a great decorator, so I was
I thought when you moved it, it looked like maybe some kind of unique instrument of some sort. So I was like, oh, I wonder if he plays whatever that is.
No, I play the drums, but that's definitely not.
Oh, cool.
So,
that's cool.
Oh, I've always wanted to learn how to play the drums. That's like my goal in life.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I learned from my dad when I was younger, and then yeah, I was in a bar band, in college, so you can go be cool for a little while, and that was the extent of it. But yeah, I actually teach. Well, I used to teach my friend's kid how to play. So,
are we starting?
Yeah, let's just start. We'll do the intro.
Okay, good. Because now you've brought me into a whole different level of. Did you grow up in like a creative, artistic family that your dad was teaching you how to do the drums?
I would say I grew up in a very encouraging family. My dad was a drummer in a band in high school, and he taught me how to do it, but he was always a writer, and my mom was always a very, very creative person as well. And so that kind of was thrust upon me and my brother, and any sort of endeavor that we tried to get into, they were always very supportive and very encouraging of it. And like when I was younger, my mom would want to have us, she's like, you want to do film stuff when you're older, go be a PA, now. And be like, Mom, I'm 15 years old. I don't want to be, I want to go chase girls. So yeah, stuff like that.
So you always wanted to be in film since you were a kid, it sounds like.
I didn't want to be in film. I wanted to be behind in the production in some shape or form. And so what I did was I went to University of Colorado because honestly, it was the best school I got into, which is not really saying much. I wasn't a great student. But I did a lot of TV classes in high school, and that got me into University of Colorado. Graduated with an English degree, and then from Colorado, I went to Chicago for 2 years to Second City. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Yes, that is so cool.
Okay, do we know what that is?
Yeah.
Some people don't. I mean, and I'm like, oh, okay, and then I explain it to them.
Yeah, maybe for some of our viewers who don't know, you can talk about it. A lot of really big names come out of there. So if you want to talk about what that is for the listeners, feel free.
So it's a sketch comedy, kind of almost artist colony. They have one in Chicago. They have one in Toronto. They used to have one in Detroit. They used to have one in Denver. They used to have one in New York. and it's all about teaching improv and sketch comedy. So people like Tina Fey, Jason Sudeikis, Chris Farley came out of Second City, and they made it through Main Stage and the traveling companies and everything. I was not even close to their level of success. I joined their writing program, which is just, classes and stuff. And then I became an intern for them. And then by the time I was done, I produced a couple shows up in their Skybox Theater, which is more of their student theater. But they were fun shows. I mean, they were very politically incorrect. I think one was called Pile Driving Miss Daisy. And it was a lot of fun. And you know what? Actually, a couple of the people that were in that show, they all went on to do great things. There's two of the women that were cast, Kate Lambert and Katie O'Brien, made it to TV land. They had a show called Teachers, and I believe Katie O'Brien is now the showrunner of a different show called, it's something about Gen Z and advertising. But it was a very, very cool experience, especially when you're young and you're in the city. And so then I had to go home for a year because I had cornea transplants, but then I went out to Los Angeles and I kind of worked for.
No big deal, just cornea implants. No big deal.
Yeah, so that was fun. I mean, I used to have a joke about how, with cornea, I don't know who the implants or the transplants are from. So it could be, like a gymnastics coach in one eye and a, stray dog in another or something. I have no idea. So yeah, I went out to Los Angeles, wrote some scripts, worked for some different organizations, Mass Hysteria Entertainment, National Lampoon used to have a website called The Zazz. I wrote for them a bit. I had a literary agent. I lost the literary agent. And I was like, this is 2011. And I was like, well, I really need an agent, for writing stuff. I'm going to need to get into stand-up because I need to get exposed. I need to get it, so people go, oh, hey, you're pretty funny on stage. Do you write? And I can go, here you go. So I ended up starting doing stand-up out there, and I ended up doing stand-up for 10 years.
That's crazy. That is quite the journey.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to make my dad proud. So yeah.
I love how you gloss over all of that as their little snippets of like all these amazing things, and you're like, well, I went to Second City, blah blah blah. I did this. I was national.
Well, I wasn't on. You know what? I wasn't on the high on the list at Second City. Like I said, I was first. I was just a student. Then I became an intern. I tried them to push something called Intern Co. They have all these different groups at Second City. They have Patch Co, Red Co, Blue Co, all these different things, and they're different touring improv things that they have. They'll bring them to. They'll be like the comic relief or the entertainment at like conventions, or they used to put them on cruise ships and they would be the entertainment there. So I remember I was like, oh, let's do an Intern Co because you have so many interns here. It was a gigantic, gigantic mess. Like we had no talent. We didn't really know what we were doing. I think our show was at like Saturday at midnight. So we were lucky if we got 12 people there. Our sketches were kind of meandering, and I don't believe they have it anymore. But yeah, I didn't have the reign that Tina Fey did. That's for sure.
Did you just want to go in for just like the experience, or were you like, no, I want to be a comedian? I mean, you ended up doing it for 10 years. So was that like, did that also just kind of like, oops, I was a comedian for 10 years, or was that like? Oops. Like,
yeah,
was that a plan?
No, it wasn't a plan. I never thought I was going to get up on stage because I'm kind of an intensely private person, and why would anyone want to hear anything I have to say? And it wasn't the type of writing that I wanted to get into. The type of writing I wanted to get into was multicam sitcoms, and unfortunately, the writer's strike in 2007, I think, kind of knocked a lot of those out. And so by the time I got to Los Angeles, they weren't financing a lot of multicam sitcoms, and that was a weird time in the industry too, because people were more going towards social media and YouTube and those kind of things, but not full on yet. that was kind of during the era of like a 30 Rock or The Office or those kind
Mm.
of different than multicam sitcoms. So, you know, nobody really appreciated when I wrote a pilot. You know, it was called Gettysburg Headbutt. It was about a guy who wanted to break up with his girlfriend, but you know, she saved his life, so he couldn't do it. So he joined like a traveling Civil War reenactment brigade in order to get rid of her. So, you know, fun idea. Didn't have the traction it probably should have.
Yeah. I'm just going to pause for a second for like our younger viewers. What a multicam is more like when you watch a show that's in a studio and they don't have, it's not like the camera following them around. It's like all the examples in my head, I'm thinking like younger viewers aren't going to know what this is, but that's like the Roseannes and the
Seinfeld,
and
Friends.
Seinfeld, yeah.
Friends, yeah.
Yeah, Friends. Yes, that's a good one. So it's like these sets that they have, and then there's just it seems almost backwards to me that they call it multicam, but it's just like this is the camera that they use for this set, and it's so much different than how shows are being filmed now because a lot of films like sitcoms, multicam sitcoms just do not do well at all nowadays.
No, that's kind of what I grew up on. I grew up on coming home and watching Seinfeld reruns, Frasier, News Radio, you know, all those.
Yeah.
I have all the DVDs.
Yeah, and now people nowadays are like so clueless. I see them keep trying to do them on Netflix, a multicam, and they bomb. They bomb every time. They make it one season maybe, and then I'm like, well, you tried. You tried. Have you thought about with your multicam ideas of trying to switch them into single cam ideas?
No, because they were kind of written for the idea of multicam. And I think when you try to port something over, it doesn't necessarily translate the way you wanted it to. And also, these ideas are, 15 years ago. I mean, they're going to sit in a drawer and they're going to be very happy in a drawer or in a little file in my computer. And that's kind of their home. They did what they could do. And you got to kind of you go, okay, it didn't work out, but you know what? I got some good experience from learning how to write a joke a different way, learning how to write a character a different way, whatever. And you kind of have to move to the next project or the next whatever you're doing.
That brings me to Borrowing Funny. Speaking of next projects and things that you're up to, when that's the award you won the Wolf Media for, Best Screenplay, Comedy, Drama. I first want to know, where were you when you found out you won the award?
Oh, I was at work. I work at the Denver Jewish Community Center, and I just checked my email, and I was like, okay, I mean, this is good. It proves that I'm not crazy and that this is resonating with somebody else. So I was very happy about that, and I'm just excited about the project. I think, the great thing about doing a stage play that I've kind of had dealings with independent theaters over the year and everything is that they're cheap enough and they're a good enough medium of entertainment where you can tell the story you want and you don't necessarily have to adhere to standards and practices of studios or different platforms or that kind of thing. And also it engages the audience's, people aren't there, they're not on their phones when they're in a theater necessarily, or at least they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So
would you say then that it's easier or just different than like writing a TV?
It's just different. I mean, here's the thing is that you have to still keep in mind budget. So if you go and you write a play and it has, let's just say 14 different characters and 4 or 5 different settings or whatever. Well, okay, who's going to pay for it? Like, not that I'm always thinking that way or whatever, but I wrote a play a couple years ago. It won some awards. We put it up. It's called Reptile Logic, and it was about a warehouse that was trying to go on strike, trying to unionize, and then a management that was trying to do everything they could do so they wouldn't go on strike, because what the workers didn't know is if they did go on strike, the the corporate would just shut down the warehouse altogether to kind of get rid of the problem. So it's like, who you try to bring that to Netflix, and you can imagine what they would say to something like that. But it was a really strong piece. It was a great time. It wasn't too costly to put it on. That one I did put on myself, and we had good reviews. We had good kind of everything with that. So it was a really great project.
So you told me already, I don't know if Richard knows this, but this winning script, it's going to actually be in, available to, how do I phrase this? You're putting this one on as well, right?
Yeah, we're putting on in conjunction with the Vintage Theater next September.
Yeah, I didn't want to make it sound like movie theater, so I was like, don't say theater. But
no,
so you guys are,
Vintage Theater Playhouse. So
that's so cool. That's
we're excited about that. We have a really, really great team together. I have the director that was the director from Reptile Logic. Mike Langworthy. He was actually like a real awesome writer in Los Angeles for 30 years. He worked on Sybil. He worked on 8 Simple Rules to Date My Teenage Daughter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big multicams, guys. Those are big.
Yeah. I would have met him, years and years before. It would have changed my life. But
oh my God. I think I was just I think I was like in elementary school when Sybil was on. I feel like that was so long ago. I was like,
yeah. Well, he's seasoned. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. Where are you in the process of putting on this production?
So we have the final, well, not the final script, because I'm sure things will change in rehearsals and stuff. And then as far as personnel, we have Mike is directing. I have 2 wonderful producers in Biz and Amy. They've been great. Now we have a stage manager in Jennifer Schmitz. She's awesome. We have a props person. We have a sound design person. It's kind of all coming together. And so I'm kind of looking at this. What I try to do is keep everyone's excitement, because it's still kind of a ways away. I have a wonderful graphic artist, so we have the poster that's almost done. But I try to do kind of almost like pep rallies where we'll have meetings, but we'll have them like at fun places and stuff. We want to have one at Casa Bonita, but for whatever reason we can't get in. But just to keep everyone kind of invested and excited about what's coming up next year. It's not going to be a long run, and it's not a big show, but you know what? I want people to, especially the people that work on it, I want people to remember the experience. And plays come and go. Everyone always says, well, what's next? What's next? What's next? I'm kind of more into the what's now. So let's just enjoy what's now. I have no idea what's coming up next.
What is the play about?
Play takes place in the 90s, and it is about stand-up comedians that steal each other's jokes. And then what would happen if one of the stand-up comedians called in a cop to, and they charge the other comedian with larceny or grand theft or whatever. And so where do you go from there? How do you solve that problem when you bring a cop into a comedy club? It's like bringing a vampire into your house.
Yeah, so. I remember when I got so I didn't read, I'm not a judge, but I didn't read yours at first. And I got notes back about it being like a crime drama or something. And I was like I can't remember the notes, but I was like, how is it winning for comedy if it's a crime drama? I was like, so curious. So I had to take a peek for sure.
I've never heard of it being categorized as a crime drama, but
it was just like something in one of the notes that I got on about, because I get all the notes and all the scoring and everything, and before I make the awards to send out, and it was like something in there, and it said it's a crime drama, but it was winning for comedy, and so I was like, interesting. How is it? What could this be? Like murdering as you tell a joke,
Well, I mean, you do say when you go up there, if you do well, you killed. If you you ate it, you bombed. That kind of thing. They have their own kind of Carney lingo to it that I've learned over the years, and incorporate some of that in there and stuff. But Yeah, if the crime is stealing someone's intellectual property in 1998, then yeah, we're a crime drama.
Yeah. And it does happen a lot in the comedy world too. Is that where the idea came from?
Yeah, so I'm not so big on telling love stories necessarily. So I always try to come up with ideas that are outside of the box. So if you put the emphasis on there's no love story in any shape or form in this, and it's just about what happens, over a weekend when a big headliner comes into town, and what happens when, because there's a hierarchy in stand up. So what happens when somebody takes your joke? What's the ramifications? What if it's somebody that's like levels above you? I mean, we used to have this guy at a comedy club that I would go to sometimes in Los Angeles. Big national name. And he would come into open mic nights and he would cherry pick the best jokes and then he would take them out on the road. So it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I've had personal problems with it. There was one comedy club that I worked at where I was running the soundboard, and this young man goes up and I hear my joke verbatim and I go, oh, that's not good. So I had to go have a word with him after, threatened him pretty violently. And I'm not really.
Let's have a talk, pal.
Yeah, kind of. I'm a Jewish kid from Minnesota, so I don't violently threaten people. So when that happens, so yeah, there's a lot of different ways. There was a comic in the 90s who became a household name who worked at a really famous comedy club, and he had a photographic memory. So he would go up, he would be the host for these shows. He would memorize somebody's closing joke, which is usually their best joke, and he would go say it right before they came up just to prove that he could.
That's so messed up. That's so messed up.
So what do you do? What are your recourses in stand-up, especially if you're not part of the 1% of the 1% that can lawyer up? What do you do?
Yeah, nothing. Unless you're like, you'd have to go get copyright your jokes before you go on stage every single time. That would be your only. Gosh dang, that sucks. Yeah. I knew it was a problem, but I just never really thought about like, what do you do? Because it's usually, you only ever hear about it when it's like big name people who can handle it. And so you don't really think about it of these people who are like,
everyone's trying to get to that next level. So people that are openers are trying to be features. People that are features are trying, people that are open micers want to be, get guest spots, whatever. And so as opposed to going through the writing process and editing and re-editing and kind of falling in love with that process and knowing how you're going to say the joke and what it's going to entail, it's just easier to take somebody else's. So it's a really crummy thing. I mean, but on the flip side, not defending it or anything, but there are situations, they call it parallel thinking, where people can have the same idea or the same, whatever, because, great minds think alike. There's only a finite amount of reality to go through. So yeah, people are going to cross paths and stuff. That's not joke stealing. There's also something called cryptomnesia that I learned about, where you present a joke as your own, but you heard it from somewhere else, but you think it's your own. And, I don't love that, but I mean, I'm sure that that's happened a couple times too. And that's probably a legitimate thing.
Yeah. Or maybe you just get inspired by somebody else's joke and really your joke ends up being like 90% the same, same as their joke.
I mean, you can kind of tell, and there's been, kind of showdowns with people where they've had their jokes stolen, and it's like people steal jokes and put them on TV, and then what are you going to do? That was on TV, so.
Do you miss going out there and doing stand-up?
I was at the point where they're like, okay, we want you.
No hesitation in that answer.
No. You know what? I stopped around the pandemic. And I actually, because of the pandemic and everything, I thought that stand-up was going to go the way of vaudeville. I thought it was just going to be, not a lot of people were going to go anymore. People, picture this. You can either go out and spend a cover charge and overpriced drink prices at a comedy club and maybe see a stand-up that's okay. You know, it might be good, it might be not. Or you can stay home and watch whatever you want on TV. I mean, we're competing against every form of entertainment out there, streaming and YouTube and social media, whatever. And, you know, it's kind of a dying art form. I worked at the Denver Improv here for a long time, and the comedians that were like good seasoned road dog comedians, we would have to give away tickets a lot of times because we couldn't fill the room, as opposed to internet comedians where they had these followings. They didn't have a show. They'd go up there for 10 minutes, do whatever their little song and dance was, and answer some questions and sign autographs ever, but those would sell out.
Yeah. I feel like it did the opposite. It like exploded, and now everybody has a TikTok account where they're doing all of their stuff, and everybody has a special now. Like you said, you don't have to go and pay the cover and pay the drinks. You can just go on any streaming service and find a million stand-up specials.
Yeah, and they all have podcasts. They come out with weekly new, stuff, as opposed to doing the same hour over and over and over. I don't know. I didn't miss going up there. I'd get a little nervous going up there. I still would get nervous even 10 years in. And then it got to the point where they're like, oh, you're going to have to start traveling. And it's like, you don't travel to great places. They're like, hey, do you want to go to Topeka for the weekend? It's just like, no, I have a nice place to live, nice dog. I don't, I'm all set. So I did what I wanted to do.
Yeah. I feel like comedians they were rock stars for a little bit there. When Netflix first came out with streaming, I feel like comedians were the new rock stars, and then social media kind of ruined that for sure. There's just too many of them all of a sudden. It's the same like when you got a camera on your phone, now everybody's a photographer. It's just like,
oh yeah,
a comedian on your every 10 seconds on your phone.
And again, it's once you get a joke out there, something you could have spent 6 months, a year, 2 years crafting or whatever, and it's out there, and it's okay, people again, they go to you and they go, all right, what's next? So what else you got? And so
you've seen their entire set on TikTok, and then you go to their show and it's that same thing, and then you're like, well, you don't have new jokes.
Sure. I mean, the only good thing I can say about YouTube, and actually one of my mentors was the one that taught me this, was that if you put a joke on YouTube, but you put it under a private account, YouTube timestamps it. So it'll say when you uploaded it and whatever. So if somebody was like, oh, I've been doing that joke, since whatever, you could be like, well, according to YouTube, I've been doing this joke since, here. And, it's a way you can resolve some of the issues.
Yeah. That's good. That's actually good advice. Like, just even if you don't publicly, like you said, do it privately, do your set privately, submit it to yourself via YouTube, and now you got proof that you did it. That's like really good advice for so many book writing, script writing, all that stuff. Like, you can just document it via YouTube. It's free for all.
Yeah. So it's never going to solve the problem. Mm-hmm. And then there are people that can go the other way about it. I have a friend that did a joke about, what was it? It was like Martin Luther King. I don't know. It was a Martin Luther King joke, but then somebody else in Georgia also had a Martin Luther King joke. And it was, he accused my friend of stealing, and my friend was like, you know what, I don't even want to deal with, I'm just going to drop the joke and ever. So it can cut both ways. And trust me, my friend didn't steal the joke. I watched him go through the process.
So I'm assuming that Borrowing Funny, when it opens, I'm guessing that the theater it's in is in Colorado? Yes.
It's in Aurora.
Okay, good.
Which is right next to, actually it's been in the news quite a bit lately. From a leader.
From various things.
Well, a leader that says it's a hellscape, which I don't agree with. So yeah, it's going to be in Aurora, and like I said, I'm kind of going out for this in partnership with. So we're going to do fun things. We're going to, I want to hire a bunch of improvisers to be outside and to pretend to be fake paparazzi when people walk in. I think when you can make a spectacle out of things and you can make a memory, then people kind of look at it as it stands out more to them. So we had to do this in stand-up too, where it wasn't enough to put up a stand-up show. You had to put up a stand-up show that was like a game show, or, you know, during the Olympics, we would give people cards that with numbers on them. And then after you did your joke, they would lift up the card. And so they could, you know, like they do in the Olympics. I mean, it's just different things like that. I had a quarterly show in Los Angeles called Not on the Mouth. It was a dating show. And it was a guy was blindfolded, sitting in a chair. 6 female comedians came out and they would do their sets. He would pick one to go on a date with. And then they could either go on the date with him or take the cash equivalent of $51.
What a great amount.
Well, that's about first date money. So
Yeah.
That's 2 meals of Chili's. So yeah.
Is there, like, I know you're not really on the social media things, but is there, like, how do people follow either the play or the theater to keep track so they know when tickets are available?
The theater you can follow. I believe they have all the social media stuff. I don't really have anything. I have a Facebook thing, but I mean, I don't think I've been on it in a couple of years. It's really just to find out when people's birthdays are.
Yeah. Well, you better start putting some stuff out if you're gonna have your people come and see you. And
yeah. Oh yeah, we'll figure it out. It's still very early yet for that. So we learned a lot of lessons last time. We hired a publicist and they really didn't do anything. And so I had to learn how to do marketing stuff kind of on the fly, which was a bummer. And didn't go the way we wanted it to. But this time we're, like I said, we have wonderful producers, wonderful director, wonderful crew. We will have auditions for the cast. It's going to be interesting for the cast because they're going to have to do a bit of stand-up and they're going to have to act like they've been doing stand-up for a while. So that's going to be interesting in itself for 3 of the 5 of them. So
that sounds so fun. What's the name of the theater again?
It's the Vintage Theater. It's in Aurora off of Dayton. And they're a wonderful place. They do, you know, right now they're doing Merrily We Roll Along in their larger theater. They do kind of classics and new classics, and they give people kind of a chance to present their work. It's a very, very fun place, and it's a wonderful environment.
Jacquelynn, we need to look at the Wolf Media Fest budget to see if we can go to opening night. I
know, I really want to. It sounds
well, we're gonna, you know what? How about this? Because we're gonna, I tape all this stuff because I just, you know, I'm like, well, you know, you paid all this money for it, might as well tape it. So I will send you a copy of the tape. I come in with a professional 3-camera shoot, and that's what we did for the last one. That's what we'll do for this one. So I can send you guys, so you don't have to schlep to Denver and, you know.
But what if I
schlep to Denver? Like, that's the worst.
It's weird here. You know, it's not, you know, I don't know. I'm not a nature person. So everyone here is all about getting up early and going for hikes and being, and I don't know. I think I'm in the wrong spot.
No, it's so pretty there, though. That's why they want to do it, is because
I'm not nature. I look at it and go, oh, we could put a parking lot right there.
Oh no.
Yeah, like I'm sorry. It's just they go up to the mountains. They want to wander around. You know, they want to.
That's so nice to me.
Whatever, and I like, let's go walk around the mall. The mall's nice. It's air conditioned. There's bathrooms.
I like that too. That's such a '90s thing to do.
Max must have grown up around the Mall of America then. So
I did, and we had a mall called Ridgedale that I was able to kind of peruse a lot. And I don't know.
I'll be at the Mall of America in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm from Wisconsin. And so we're flying into Minneapolis and spending a couple days.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna go to the mall. Are you gonna go to a Vikes game or?
No.
Yeah,
You don't like being
feel the
outside as
friendship-
much as
the
I would go.
blossoms and friendship just kind of
Absolutely. I'll
dissipate.
be at the Gap at Mall of America.
Oh, okay. Well, they got like 5 of them in there.
Yeah. Yes.
So
That's so
Yes.
funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thanks
other
for
than-
being here, and congratulations. And
thank you.
I know
Thanks
you're going
for
to tape
having
it for
me.
us, but I still am going to beg Jacquelynn to fly me out there and see.
If we can, if I can figure out how to, that would be so much fun. But yes, thank
Whoever
you
wants to
for-
sponsor this out there in the world,
sponsor
our
us going
flight
out
to
there
Denver.
and
Sponsor.
sponsor his project and sponsor us. You could do
Yes.
2 in 1. We'll be there. We'll do interviews live with all the cast. It'll be great. It'll be so much
Yeah.
fun for
With microphones
everybody.
with your logo on them. It'll be fun. Appreciate you so much.
Thanks for having me on, guys, and thanks for
Yes, of
including
course.
me in your festival. It's a really special thing. I really appreciate you guys giving me a platform and recognizing works from just a normal everyday people, because we don't always have a place to go, and it's tough when you're writing something and you finish it and you want to share it with the world, and there's nowhere for it to go. So it's important to have organizations like yours. And I'm sure everyone else really do appreciate it.
Yeah, that's my goal. And I just hope if you write more, I hope we get to see them so we can share them, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
It'll all be great. I'm glad that we get to talk about your projects and share it with the world.
No, this has been great.
And then we found out his name is Matt Wexler, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
See, I told you that was a great concept.
Yeah. Matt Wexler did a really good job.
I feel so bad that I told you his name was Max, because
Well, you did also tell me it was Matt. I just looked, you just wrote it multiple times in different places and used different names.
Yeah, I
So
put it on the
just chose
schedule.
the wrong one.
Yeah, the schedule as Matt. Oh, I even put it up at the top corner. I don't know if you see what I see.
I can't read that. It's too far away.
Oh, yeah. But on our schedule, I put him as Matt, but as in the notes to you, I put him as Max. So that's my fault. He was great as both Matt and Max.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because he is very funny, but he doesn't have like that like I'm a clown personality, goofy guy personality, but he is pretty funny and he's had such an amazing life. So that was I kind of wish we could talk to him a lot more about just like that first 2 minutes of our of our interview. Like it was a lot.
Maybe we will when our sponsor sends us to Denver.
Fingers crossed.
Jacquelynn, if someone wants to sponsor, how do they do that? Where do they get a hold of you?
Oh, yeah, they can get a hold of me by my hair is one way. And admin at wolfmediafest.com is another way. If you just Google my name, Jacquelynn Wolfheart, I'm literally the only one in the world with that name. And you could also talk to Richard about his show and sponsor his show. And if you wanted to sponsor him separately within our show, people could do that as well because he is a hard worker and he deserves it.
Or a 2-for-1, a twofer, as they say in Wisconsin, Minnesota, a twofer. Do you know what that is?
I don't. I would just think it means 2-for-1, but
yeah, that's what but they call it a twofer.
A twofer.
Yeah.
You gotta
even
go
have
down
stickers like at clothing stores, or whatever, when there's like there's a twofer.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
I got my own twofer, my little twofer one. That's so cute. I love when you do your accent, when you do your family's accent.
Yes, my family's accent.
Your historical accent.
Yes. Well, I did have to talk to my brother and my sister-in-law today. So the accent is a little bit thicker because...
Does your brother have an accent? Or just his wife? Oh, he does? Because your dad doesn't really.
Oh, yes, he does. Yes,
he does?
Yes.
I gotta go back and listen to your dad again then, because I don't remember him having it, but that's so cute. I can picture your mom having it, and it's adorable in my brain.
I mean, I do sometimes, but I try not to.
Yours is so rare when it barely peeks out, very rarely. No, you don't. You lie. You're lying to everybody. You don't have an accent.
I wouldn't lie to you, especially about an accent.
Okay, well, if people want to keep finding out that Richard doesn't lie to me, you can like and subscribe like, and subscribe. My bad. I know how to speak. To this, or follow us on any of our social medias. And you can also follow Richard on his show, Make Your Day Richard, and love him and love us and all those things. And I hope you guys have a great everything.
See you next time.
Wolf Media Festival Podcast with Richard Wilmore and Jacquelynn Wolfheart. Produced and edited by me. I'm Jacquelynn Wolfheart. Don't forget to check out the links in the description to find ways you can connect with our guests. Thanks for checking us out today and tuning in every week wherever you get your podcasts.